All right, people, welcome back. Guy Time Platinum Podcast, episode number 3. I'm your host. My name is Matt Kelly. Let's see if I do this right this time. Underneath me is Justin Smith. What's up?
I'm not underneath. I'm actually to the left of you, but it's all right.
Well, I think in the recording for YouTube, it's going to be underneath.
Oh, okay.
And next to your right is Tyler White. What's up?
My right, your left, his bottom, my top. Yep, makes sense. Yep.
All right. So I'm going to kick things off with a little bit of a sad note here. Some details have come out about the late Phillies pitcher, Roy Halladay, the all-time great. Details kind of proved what we already knew, really, but that there was a lot of drug abuse and even some stunt flying there at times and stuff like that. But Justin, does this tarnish anything? I mean,
for me, he's my favorite pitcher of all time that I've ever got to witness pitch. I believe, short of somebody like Greg Maddux or something like that. But
right.
He's arguably he is my favorite pitcher of all time. So not really, because from everything that you hear, everyone talks about him. They always talk about him in a good light. I just think maybe he was battling addiction, maybe at the end there. And everyone has their demons, everyone has their devils. So that's what it seems like to me, honestly, because like I said, all the old players that he played with always said that he was a leader. He'd go out there and prove it. He wouldn't say much, but he'd go out there. Obviously the guy had a no-hitter and a perfect game in the same season. So, and he's one of how many pitchers to have, I believe, a Cy Young in the AL and NL. So that's huge. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's definitely all-time. I mean, he's first ballot. So, yeah. Ty, what about you? What do you think, man?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you just said. I mean, he's my favorite pitcher of all time as well. I don't think anything less of him either. But, a lot of times after these guys retire, they don't really know what to do with themselves as a second career, because their life is, only about half over in their late 30s, early 40s. Sometimes guys will, have stuff planned out, but a lot of times they don't. And I don't know if that was part of why he was taking a lot of meds, because he was depressed, because he didn't know what to do with himself as a second career or what. But, and he was apparently a big thrill seeker, which kind of surprised me, because he always had such a calm, quiet demeanor, even though he was an ultra competitor. I mean, he was, but in a very quiet way. But
yeah,
I mean, it's like you said, it's stuff that we pretty much already knew about, but it's just the actual details just now came out.
Right.
It's just one of those things, though, it rehashes it for his wife. I saw her post that thing, and she was like, "Just let the man rest in peace." And some instances, I'm more of a stat person, statistics. So I like to hear the truth and what actually happened. But in this instance, kind of would have been better, in my opinion, just to leave it for what it was, because I felt like everyone already. Like Tyler said, we kind of already knew what it was. It's just kind of rehashing an old one at this point.
Yeah.
When you're trying to move on from it, you know what I mean? Just my opinion.
So to continue on the sad news, Von Miller of the Denver Broncos, my football team, unfortunately has been diagnosed with the coronavirus. Justin, you had mentioned something that I had forgotten about, that I did know, but I completely forgot that he does have asthma or asthma problems and things like that. But that, in my personal opinion, he's a professional athlete and probably in tip-top shape, and I think that he'll be able to bounce back most likely. But yeah, you got to take that seriously. I mean, it's pretty crazy to see, some of the best athletes in the entire world come down with this stuff. From Donovan Mitchell to Von Miller to Kevin Durant, stuff like that. So it's just pretty crazy.
Something to definitely take serious, and I think something about it too is there's a lot of people that don't take it serious. So to see it from somebody like Von Miller or Kevin Durant get on there and be like, "Hey, I'm here sick. Take this serious." Kind of helps. Yeah, I think in the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's something else I also heard that starting in May, the MLB had okayed for them to start laying off managers and staff.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's something interesting that's affecting. Like, I didn't even think that was kind of possible because I just thought like managers were signed on contracts like players. Because you know when you hear them talk about it, it just kind of seems like another player. But apparently they can get laid off as well. So that's news to me, honestly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because if they start the season, it's most likely going to be without fans. So I mean, they're going to lose a lot of money. But at the same time, the TV, viewers are going to go up too. So I don't know if that's going to kind of even it out.
I mean,
but
you have TV deals, so that's what I would assume. Like, you still have to, you have to put something. I mean, you're getting paid to be on the air at that given time. So I would imagine at some point you either have to give money back or you better put something on the field. I'm sure that's probably – I mean, it'd be great for – I mean, I'd love to see baseball no matter what. It's baseball and it's live. But, like, I'm sure that has a lot to do with it as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely.
Money.
Tyler, have you seen The Last Dance at all, the Chicago Bulls?
I have. I actually just watched the first 2 episodes last night. And you guys both know that I'm not a huge basketball fan, but when it comes to like seeing behind the scenes stuff and any type of sports thing, I think that's one of the coolest things to watch. And the fact that they allowed, cameramen access to like the locker rooms and their homes and all that stuff is pretty cool for, one of, if not the greatest dynasty of all time in sports. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think the craziest thing to me was actually that it was live on ESPN, and I know they gave the mature rating and all that stuff, but they did not hold back, dude. The F-bomb, it was fucking crazy. Dude,
it's like,
and it's so crazy that it's like more and more channels are doing that too. Like FX has swearing and stuff. It's just it's so weird.
Like in the middle of the day too. It's not like 2 o'clock in the morning. It's at like noon where a 5-year-old can be watching it. So
But there's also how many people probably laid off that are like adults that can watch it too. Like I could be watching it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Okay. Something I didn't – I mean, we were kind of young then too, but something I didn't quite remember was like the whole 97 team almost getting blown up. Like I heard that they were trying to trade like Scottie – like first of all, Scottie Pippen signed some like crazy contract that was like 7 years for like $18 million. Yeah. He was like the 122nd paid player in the league, but played like because like on the Bulls – next to Jordan, he was either first or second. Like whatever Jordan wasn't first at, Pippen was first. You know what I mean? He was well outplayed.
Yeah, he was easily the like a top 10 player in the league those couple of years there. And it was like, and he was easy. I don't think he won a defensive player of the year, but I think he was definitely in the running most years. So it's like to be paid as like the 120, that's so crazy.
Dude, think about that. 7 years for $18 million. It's like what, $2 million a year, something like that. That's crazy. That's nothing to like what players are getting paid right now. And like he could probably like if he was back then and he played now, he could probably still hang. Like he still had good athletic ability. He could, he was big,
super long,
he was tall. Like he has like the Kevin Durant look. Honestly, I think. And, dude, he would still be able to ball today. But, like, I didn't realize that the general manager was trying to blow up the team. Like, I didn't remember that, like, at all.
Yeah.
But, like, it all makes sense now that I'm starting to, like, watch it. And, like, I kind of feel like it was a little bit ahead of its time. Like, 97, 98, having behind the scenes, like, cameras following you everywhere. Like, that seems like at least 10 years before its time. You know what I mean?
Right.
In my opinion. So it's cool to look back and see them pulling up and like the clothes they're wearing and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's awesome.
Yeah. I think the best part about this is that we got 8 more hours of it because it's a 10-part documentary. So it's going to be pretty sweet.
How much more can they possibly talk about? I mean,
that's apparently. Did you see like how they kept going back though? I kind of like that. Like you know what I mean? It was like what he. In the beginning, like what he didn't know, and then they like skipped to like the 97 team, and like he's way advanced from when he first like was on that first Bulls team getting drafted. So it's crazy. Dude. It's crazy to see how they did that. honestly.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so moving on, some of the big news that literally just came across, I don't know, like 4 hours ago, was the great Rob Gronkowski has made his return. And
mind you, right
Yeah.
after WrestleMania, winning the 24/7 championship.
Yeah, dude. So the part that I didn't know was that he was still under contract with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could have sworn he was becoming a free agent. But anyways, he goes back, and technically he's back on the Patriots for, I don't know, a couple of hours or something before they deal him because of out of his request to keep playing with Tom Brady. And so they deal him to Tampa Bay, where Tom Brady went. From what I know is that Tampa Bay is already a pretty stacked tight end team with, I believe, O.J. Howard and stuff. So is this a good fit? I mean,
Hell
what do you
yeah.
guys think?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, without a doubt,
Good
dude.
fit.
I already had heard like O.J. Howard. They were trying to trade him anyway. I thought they were gonna end up trading him anyway. Is what I was hearing. So yeah, dude, I think it's a perfect fit. But one thing I wanted to point out was that I think it's funny that players leaving New England want to join together, and it seems like at the time, I know 6 championships to 1. I'm not going to talk too much shit as an Eagles fan, but it was kind of funny. Those comments about not having fun. You know, they had 1 year having fun, and it sure seems like to me that those two are going to go down to Tampa Bay in Florida and have fun this year.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're probably going to be pretty competitive. And, I mean, with that offense,
they're not going to be following the Patriot way anymore.
Exactly. They're going to be balling it out in Miami or in Tampa Bay, and they're going to freaking probably make it all year round. Be contenders all season long.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, there's no way they keep all 3 of those tight ends. I mean, because they're all pretty good. I mean, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard, now Gronk. I mean, one of those 2 guys is going.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be Howard, honestly.
Howard, yeah, because Cameron Brate actually emerged as one of the better tight ends in the league last year, didn't he?
Yeah, for sure. I also, on that note, I also heard that Alshon Jeffrey might be getting traded here at draft day, is the new news I keep hearing, which you don't want to be here. See,
definitely taking a receiver then. They would, So
I mean, if we didn't already have to, I mean,
well, that's the thing. They already did have to.
Now we have
100% definite. Yeah.
Now we have 2 guys that are left.
And one of them's always hurt.
Well, that's a perfect segue then. So let's dive into a little bit of the draft here coming up in 2 days, right? Thursday.
Crazy.
So it's gonna be yeah, definitely. It's gonna be really weird too, being something that we haven't seen before. A lot of virtual reality from what I'm hearing, a lot of Madden, and a lot of in-home footage. So we'll see how it goes. But so the Eagles have the 21st pick, correct?
Correct.
Who are Tyler? Who do you think they're looking at right now?
Well, in most of the mock drafts that I've seen, that they would take Justin Jefferson from LSU, which he is probably, in my opinion, probably the third. No, it's probably the 4th best receiver in the draft, behind Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, and who the hell am I forgetting?
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, from Oklahoma. But there was another guy that's kind of emerged over the past few days as one of the top receiving candidate or draft prospects is a guy named Denzel Mims from Baylor. He wasn't always talked about as one of the top, prospects, and ever since, the draft was started to be talked about, at the end of the season.
Right.
That's actually one that the Eagles have been looking at a lot in the past few days. So, there's just so many different receivers in this draft. There's a good 8 or 9, even 10, really good ones. So, this is the best receiver draft class I've seen since I can remember. But, we'll see. There's really no excuse for them to not get a receiver. They're in desperate need of 1 or even 2. And like I said, this receiver draft is really good. So, they have to take one.
Yeah. Justin, what about safety?
Yeah, I was hearing that too. There's a safety from LSU that they were saying is a possible first round draft pick for the Eagles, but I don't know. Like I may be one of those few people that actually think that the Jalen Mills moving to safety actually is not a bad idea. I honestly think that he's going to play a lot better as a safety than as a corner. I believe that like a lot of like he's physical enough. He makes open field tackles. Like I think Jalen Mills will play all right. So I'm with Tyler. I definitely think the need for receiver is just too strong. It's just way too strong not to pick a receiver.
Yeah. Well, the LSU safety is Grant Delpit. He was actually going into college this past season on the Heisman. What would you call that, radar or whatever?
Yeah.
So he's actually a very good defensive player, and at the same time, LSU pumps out defensive backs like crazy. So Tyrann Mathieu and Patrick Peterson, guys like that. So, but okay, so the Broncos are also on the radar at number 15 in the first round to look into the wide receiver class being so stacked, to be honest. So Justin Jefferson, the one you guys have been talking about out of LSU, obviously I wrote some of these numbers down. He had the best year, mainly because a lot of that credit does go to Joe Burrow too in LSU. But you got Justin Jefferson with like great numbers, 111 catches with 1,540 yards and 18 touchdowns. He's also the bigger guy too, 6'3", 192. Whereas the other guy's a couple inches and a few pounds lighter as well. So I think this is a very weird comparison because the Broncos and Eagles are actually kind of looking in the same positions as far as the draft. So, but the one mock I did see was that the Eagles predicted trade with the Falcons to jump up to 16 and actually take somebody of the likes of like CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy if they're available at that spot. As long as it's not too many picks in return, do you think it would be worth it to give up like, I don't know, a 6th or 7th to move up?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say they have enough draft picks that if you were going to give up, a 6th or a 7th, I think you'd be all right. But like, there's a lot of holes to fill on this Eagles team. I mean, you think like realistically, the linebackers that we do have are young. I mean, we did upgrade in the secondary in the offseason with Darius Slay and Colby Roby, I think his name is, and so I think we're okay to start there. But like I wouldn't give up too much. I mean, I would move up to try and get a receiver if I can, and it's reasonable. I would for sure.
Yeah. Okay, Tyler. So some of the more national. National odds. But anyways, the bigger news of the draft, let's put it that way. Some of the earlier quarterback takes have kind of a battle between Tua Tagovailoa and what's the guy? Who's the other one I'm thinking of?
Justin Herbert from Oregon.
Yes,
yeah.
Herbert.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to go higher?
Oh man, I think Tua will go higher.
Okay.
But it's a tough choice to make because Tua definitely has the higher ceiling. But Justin Herbert would definitely be the safer pick. But I mean, I think I would pick Justin Herbert just because the injuries that Tua has had, he's had like a good 3 or 4 significant injuries when he was in college with Alabama. I mean,
mobility
that's really
too.
hard to ignore because, I mean, he's getting injured this much when he was, 20, 21, 22 years old. I mean, he might not make it to 30 years old. I think it's too much of a risky pick, I think, to take him. I think I would definitely take Justin Herbert. I mean, I know he's not nearly as mobile. He's more of a pocket passer, but he's a really big dude. So,
okay.
Justin Herbert for me.
Yeah. another Justin, I want to see if you have any interest in this. I know you're not a huge college fan, but another pick that I'm hearing for the Eagles in the later rounds, still in wide receiver, could be a Penn State guy named KJ Hamler. He's a speedy guy. He's supposed to be one of the faster guys in the draft, but his numbers aren't comparable to some of the other guys in the first round. He only had 56 catches for 900 yards, but 8 touchdowns. Much less targets with a 16-yard catch average. So he's
the home run hitter then.
Yeah.
I mean, those are like the thing about those kind of players is they're honestly like a player. Like if you look at Deshaun Jackson and just Deshaun Jackson, even if he's not 100% healthy, but he's able to play, that now changes the whole entire game plan. Because, like, this guy can burn anybody. And even now at, like, 32, this guy could probably burn anybody in the league as far as defensive backs go.
Yeah.
So, like, just having that threat means you have to, like, prepare for that. So that everything underneath, like a guy like Zach Ertz becomes that much more valuable when you have a guy like Deshaun Jackson. So, like, I think, like, I would gladly take that, especially because Deshaun Jackson comes back and only plays 2 games last year. When, I mean, arguably, I think he probably should have been back a lot sooner because he probably should have had the surgery at week 2 instead of whatever it was, week 6 or week 7 or later in the season, whenever it was. But I like speed because, like I said, it takes the top off. So once you can take the top off, everything underneath works, and basically your whole game plan's open, in my opinion. So,
and KJ Hamler can always develop into just more than just a deep threat, because that's kind of what Deshaun Jackson did when he first came in the league. That's really all he was a deep threat. But as his career went along, he kind of became a better possession receiver, and he can run a lot more different kinds of routes now. So maybe, that's possible for Hamler to do that as well. I mean, he's got in the league yet. He's got a lot of room to improve.
Deshaun Jackson's feet. Like, if you watch this guy, like, there's not too many guys that, like just go back and watch that Miracle in the Meadowlands too. Like when Michael Vick and they had that fourth quarter that, like, I've never seen a team like, and I'm not being biased because I'm an Eagles fan. I've never seen a team play like that in that small section of time and being down by that like that, and like that punt return, like he dropped the ball. Like, he muffed the punt, picked it up, and took it and won the game. Yeah, dude. And, like, his feet, like, it looks like he's standing still moving, if that makes any sense. Like, that's how fast he is. Like, you can't, like, it's crazy, dude. Honestly.
Right. Yeah.
The one thing that I remember hearing about last year was, you know how, like, they say you got wide receivers who are good track athletes and guys who have guys who have history running track in, like, high school or something like that. I heard of a more in-depth example of that, of, like, how runners learn how to run more technically and more, like, it's almost to the point where their heels never touch the ground. Like, they're at the point where it's only tiptoes, and it's, like, the less amount of time that you're actually touching the ground, the better. Which is insane. It's so technical.
How can you run like that?
I wish I could master that, because I know Tyler can attest to this in softball. It's like I'm running, like I'm sitting still, and I'm running, like, as hard as I can. Like, I can remember, like, we had a time when, like, I was rounding the bases and people were yelling at me to run. And I'm like, I am running. Like, I can't run any faster than I am right now.
Yeah, it almost has something to do with, like, the way you go to step. So it's like you have to step at, like, the perfect, like, length of your knee being bent and all that shit. But it reminded me of that when you were talking about Jackson, because I feel like when watching those type of highlights, you can almost see it. Like, you can see, like, the perfect form and shit. So
exactly,
like, some of those guys have it. It's crazy.
Like, Shady used to be like that too. Like, early on in Shady's career, like, he'd be in a hole and gone. Like, he was quick, he was fast, and had feet. Like, I never. I mean, they always compared him to Barry Sanders. Like, obviously he's not as good as Barry Sanders, but, like, same kind of feet movement. You know what I mean?
All right, so moving on. We're the last couple of minutes here. I've got a little bit of a trivia question for you guys. Are you ready for this one? It's not impossible, but it's a little tough. So we'll see. The question is, which golf tournament did Tiger Woods win by 12 strokes in '97 to win his first major?
Oh, the Masters.
Yeah.
You got me. I mean, I'll go with the Masters. I like playing golf, but I don't really know too much about like the history.
Yeah.
I think I remember watching that. I mean, I would have been, 8 years old? But
Yeah.
It looks so freaking young. It's crazy. All right, so let's end this with what are we drinking? I am a bad person, and I do not have a drink right now. I am out of beer, and it's horrible. So, what are you guys drinking?
I am drinking good old Platinum Bud Light right now.
Nice.
I have Rolling Rock.
Ooh, one of my favorites.
Rolling Rock.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, everybody, I appreciate you guys for tuning in on this one. If you have any topics, any ideas for the show at all, any questions, whatever it is, let's see if I get this right. Twitter is the Guy Time Plat Pod. The email is guytimepodcast@gmail.com. And Justin, what's
it is the Guy Time Podcast 2020 is the Facebook page. So like the page if you get it, and we're here. This will be uploaded. So what Matt was saying.
All right, guys. I appreciate you for hopping on, and everybody, peace out.